I love this hat. I love the hat. All right, that's fine.
And the lobby is okay to stand up there. We'll walk
Anybody, including myself, that thinks the plan we have right now is perfect. I don't like my personal plan. I used to be a healthcare administrator at Union Sugar, and I hated the plan we had there. And so I think maybe we can all agree that there is a better way. The question is, what is that better way? Now, what we want to do is we want to be civil this evening. There's some people here that support change. And they're willing to take a chance with what's been proposed. And what has been proposed is constantly evolving. There's a different plan in the Senate than what is in the House. And there's different versions in the House. So we're all shooting at a moving target here. All of us. Whether we support or oppose or we're still undecided. Now, what I want to do tonight is I want to give people an opportunity to speak to their elected representatives. We have reasonable facsimiles of them up here. And anyway, because they are not hosting one in our region, at least not to date, hey, could I have the people back there quiet down?
Hey, you gotta quiet down out here.
Yeah, we want everybody, even in the back and the overflow, to be able to hear. So we want everybody to get a chance in the hour and a half that we have here to record a statement, a question of either support, criticism, or you can be ambivalent if you want to be. We are not going to boo, hiss, or clap when people are speaking, but we'll give you roughly 5 seconds thereafter for an outburst. Okay? That way we'll be rude, but we'll vent at the same time. We won't be rude, but we will vent. Start this with the flag salute. If you would all rise. Hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our intention is to reserve as much time this evening for you. We have collected cards and questions that people have written. We will transcribe those and send those with the DVD. If you don't want to speak, but you want your comment relayed, either in support, opposition, or what have you, you can just use one of these little 3x5 cards. We will transcribe them all. We will not edit them as long as we can read your handwriting. And then what we're going to do is we're going to send a copy of this DVD to all of our elected representatives, hoping that they will actually want to hear what their constituents have to say one way or another. Now, again, the majority of the time is going to be reserved for you. That a friend of mine who has been on the radio for longer than I have is Tony Crivello, and I asked him to spend just 5 or 10 minutes as somebody who literally has decades of experience in insurance and in marketing and in business to kind of lay out the groundwork of how the system works and some of the proposed changes. He's actually read the entire 1,100-page House version of the bill. Okay, Tony, I'm going to give it to you, and I'm going to put you on the same clock that everybody else is on.
Andy's got me on the spot. Want to welcome you all here this evening.
That's part of our Constitution. So, as a representative of my own insurance agency and the insurance industry, I want to do this with a little bit of dignity. I want to do this and be objective, and I'm not going to talk about the insurance aspect you might suspect. What I'm going to do is talk about three things that will be very necessary. I don't care whose bill it is. I don't care if it's H.R. 32.
Tony, closer. They can't hear you back.
Sorry about that. I don't care if it's H.R. 3200 or it's the Senate bill. What we have to address, okay, tort reform. Does everyone know what that means? Okay, here is the problem with tort reform. Deep pockets. You cannot and will not be able to reform, I don't care whose health care system is, whether it's Republican, Democrat, or whatever, without tort reform. In California, we have tort reform, $250,000 limit, but throughout the United States, we don't. For some reason, the representatives are not listening to us, and they're not hearing the fact that we need tort reform. That's one of the first steps that's going to be very important. The second step is to reform prescription drugs and get Viagra out of the TV and back into the medicine cabinet. And the reason I mention this to you is that in the last 12 months, the prescription drug companies have spent $20 billion, a little bit over this, $20 billion in advertising. Now, I don't know about you, but when I'm watching the UCLA-SC game, I don't need to see somebody in a hot tub with Viagra. So, and I'm jesting when I say that, but that is the problem that we have. That advertising is just money that should be put back into research and development. Thirdly, we need to create, and I'm going to explain the mechanics of this in just a minute, but we need to create more primary care physicians. And to do that, you have to put them on par income-wise with other disciplines. In other words, when you have young doctors in medical school and they're given the choice, let's say 3 or 4 or 5 years into the program, and they're looking at, if I become a primary care physician, this is what I'm going to make, but if I go into a specialty, which is happening, then I'm going to make much more. So we have to put them on par. That's part of the reform system. It doesn't mean you have to change the whole insurance industry, but what you do have to do is tort reform, step 1. Step 2, prescription drug reform. Get the advertising off the air and do it sensibly, put the money into something constructive, because why can I call Canada if I want a prescription that costs me $180 here and get it for $40? There's something wrong. Again, the reimbursement of the physicians is very important. Now, here's something that's a new word that you've heard this week. Co-ops. You've heard the word co-ops? Yeah, that's like an aspirin for an elephant. Basically, what you have here is a co-op was formed here in California in 1993. In 96, it went from a funded, subsidized government plan to a private plan, and it's out of business in 2006. It does not work when there's 5 or 6 players like Kaiser, Blue Shield, nonprofits, and then you have Anthem, Blue Cross, and on, Aetna.